right. Peace, light, and love, family. Thank you for connecting with me. If you don't know who I am Shakesha Divine, Priestess Shakesha Divine. And today I have a very special guest. Queen Bridgette is in the house. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, what you're about?
Well, peace and love, everyone. Thank you, Priestess Shakesha, for having me.
Yes.
So I'm Queen Bridgette. I'm My background is in wellness. I'm a licensed massage therapist by trade. I'm also a farmer, a new farmer, actually. Um, Studying herbs, studying plant life, and studying the soil. So soil health is one of the biggest parts of the farming aspect that I'm diving into currently.
Mm.
So I'm a mother, got a
Okay.
19-year-old daughter. Um, yeah, like I'm just
Okay.
out here, learning and growing as learning as I grow.
Absolutely, man. This is just, I'm so excited to have you on here today because, when we get together on the Serious Cipher, I stopped recording the Serious Cipher on the podcast and just started putting that primarily on Clubhouse. So if you guys would like to tune in to the Serious Cipher or come in and participate, we doing this on Clubhouse, and this goes down every Thursday, except for this one is coming up at 8:30 on Clubhouse every that's Eastern Standard Time. But this is a time right now where this discussion is so timely, and this is the perfect individual, in my opinion, to really assist us in navigating this energy. We had the summer solstice that came through. You know what I'm saying? That summer solstice, when it comes through, that divine masculine energy about shining our light, and so much healing is needed right about now. And then we have today, Neptune just went retrograde in Pisces. And over the weekend, Saturn went retrograde, which is also in Pisces. So these are a lot of things that are in our subconscious mind. And where Neptune is at, this is all about like our muse, our understandings. You know what I'm saying? It's a mystical energy within it. And it is the original ruler of Pisces, right? And Pisces is where we hold a lot of secrets and stuff like that at. I like to look at the degrees where we're at on that so that we can really tap in and tune into the energy of that, right? So where Neptune is at 29 degrees. So it's about to make a shift pretty soon, right? But Neptune, it takes its time when it's moving and everything. So we won't see that movement until 2025. But that being at 29 degrees, that degrees is Leo. And Leo is all about egos, all about our pride, right? And this is giving us an opportunity to examine, those mindsets, those mentalities and everything, what those things that may be getting in the way, how our pride can get in the way, how our ego can trip us up at the end of the day. And then we got this Saturn retrograde that's coming through, which is in Pisces as well. And that Saturn is at 19 degrees, which is at Libra. Libra is about our relationships, our partnerships and everything. But more over than not, I would say that this is an opportunity for us to look at the relationship with ourselves, because we'll see how that starts spilling over in our world all around us. And so I just think that was just so profound with that. I wanted to talk to you about, how do you think, or what would you uh, so here's the thing. Okay, hold up. I almost lost my track of thought because I want to talk about this whole thing. We're trying to get ourselves together with this Saturn retrograde and everything,
Yes.
right? And so now we got this Neptune energy that's going on. We talking today about the seeds that we plant. And we just started up and got committed to begin July with this fast with the soul
Mhm.
family to help and get us recalibrated. That was the first question I had down. I had to make sure that I backed it up because I'll be all over the place, right? I'm super excited. So y'all give me a second.
Yes. Yes, we gotta ground it, bring it down, bring it down.
Absolutely, absolutely. But how do you think that this whole thing, this recalibration that we're doing with this juicy July thing, where we're making this commitment to eating um raw vegan foods along with the juices and everything. How do you think that this will benefit us, and what do you recommend that we would incorporate in our diet that will be beneficial, even if those that are listening choose not to fast at this time? What would be beneficial at this point in time, do you think?
At this time, well, it's a lot of changes,
Mm,
right? We have a lot of planetary changes, and then it comes down um, on an individual aspect where it affects us that way. So it's a lot of changes that we're going through. So it's a time of transformation, I'm gonna say. So it's bringing up or stirring up like old pattern, things that have been dormant, that has kind of just been like laying in the or chilling in the background,
mm,
or going, flying under the radar, or even those things that we intentionally do not want to stir up because we don't want to look at it and confront it. Like, so going through with the juicy July, as well as having these planetary changes that affects us. um what's been beneficial for me, I'm gonna share, is like to have like some herbal allies,
mm.
right? Whether it's some plant essences, um I'll also have some like, or adaptogens. Adaptogens are plants who are they work on the system in a non-specific way
Okay.
to kind of bring about a harmony in the body, right? So whether our stresses are coming from environmental, whether it's mental stress, whether it's physical stress, whether it's spiritual stress,
Hmm.
these herbs that are adaptogenic allows us to move through those stages with ease, because it helps to create a sense of homeostasis in the body, right?
It's
So some of those herbs, or mushrooms as well, like reishi, lion's mane. You have cordyceps. Some of the herbs are tulsi or holy basil,
mm,
shatavari, ashwagandha.
mm,
Um, Let me see. Ginseng. Ginseng is one of my like favorites. It definitely is an acquired taste. Like if you don't have that already, set up for you, but it helps with just like energy. It gives a good boost of energy and mental clarity.
mm,
Maca root is yummy. Like I like maca root in my smoothies. Like I like in my, sometimes I mix it in my in my cacao tea, Like I'll put a little maca root powder in there. And also cacao,
mhm,
cacao
mm,
is really good to kind of like, for me it helps to soothe while I feel a boost of like mental clarity, because it does bring oxygen flow to the brain,
mm,
and it's also brings a bit of a like a comforting aspect, with it for me, while I'm going through a transformative stage,
mm,
right? While it's kind of like a chaotic time when emotions are stirring up old memories, or be feeling insecure about moving on into a new territory, or moving on into uncharted territory of releasing what's old and familiar, to now embark on this new journey that I haven't been on. Yeah, it helps me feel secure in doing that.
that
So
is
yeah, I'll.
powerful. Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt
no, that was it. So I'm a big, so adaptogens. Holy basil is one of my go-to for teas too. Holy basil. You could pair it with like milky oats. milky oats is like very nourishing and hydrating, you know, and so that gives a nice type of like um comforting, mothering type of feel, you
Mm,
know. And so the holy basil, I just love the smell and the taste of it.
yeah,
So I can have an adaptogens. They work non-specifically, so it's such a broad, um, interactive herb where it's like you could take it, you know, most days. Like you don't have to say like, you know, it's gonna be heavily taxing on your liver or your kidneys, you
yeah.
know. And so you could take it. It's pretty much an everyday type of herb.
Okay, that is powerful. You started talking these adaptogens. I had to be silent on that because this is definitely some new territory. Now, I remember, see, you really reminded me years ago, I was doing the cacao and everything. And when you brought that back up, it was like I forgot all about that shit, right? And
Yeah.
so I started utilizing that and doing it with those mushrooms and everything. So I'm feeling really good about that. And it's definitely been helping me to feel grounded, find my center, and feel soothed because I have been spending so much time in a lot of habits that just really don't serve me. At the time they do, but you know what I'm saying? For the long run, it doesn't really work out too well at the end of the day. I wanted to ask you just real quick though on those adaptogens you were talking about, the shatavari or what was that? That the
Mhm.
herb you were saying shatavari. How does that help? I've never heard of that.
Shatavari is, and also is also good for women's health,
Oh,
right? For
yeah.
reproductive,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So it's balancing on that aspect.
Okay. Okay.
Um, Shatavari makes I feel is more hormonal, like it
Mhm.
brings my hormones in balance,
Okay.
and you know,
Yeah.
and that's also a root. Yeah, that's also
Okay.
a root powder.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
gonna probably be needing that because I'm at that age where
Hmm.
I really need to make sure that I stay ahead of the game on that shit. You know what I'm saying? I swear so I felt fire shot up in my bones. I said, I'm gonna change my name to Ezekiel, damn it, because I going through changes out here in these streets. But but let me for real though, I'm just telling you, like for real. So these are definitely some things that will help me along my journey. Especially during this whole process where we're cleansing ourselves, because a lot of us that are in the soul family, some of us have been able to like leave meat alone. I left it alone years ago, but after I was able to like get the healing that I need, I went right back into the old things that I was on, right?
Mhm.
But now we got this thing to eat or not to eat meat. You know what I'm saying? It's starting to become like a scary situation. You know what I'm saying? Because the
Yeah.
FDA has approved a lot of the meats that are made from animal stem cells, right? And they
Mhm.
appear to be just like meat. You know what I'm saying? Except they're using, I guess what they're using is a 3D printer to
Mhm.
create the form. They say it tastes the same. You know what I'm saying? It is in essence the same because it's a more the way that it's delivered when they're trying to really get people to buy into this is saying that this is a more sustainable way to continue to eat meat from animals without the quote unquote tax that goes with eating those animals and everything. The inhumanity, the slaughter of the livestock and everything, the food, water consumption, potential diseases and all of that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so, it to me at first, it sounds good on the surface, you know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
then on the other end, I'm like, this is what techno meat, AI meat, you know what I'm saying? Where we got this impossible, the beyond meat, the plant-based meat that we
Mhm.
call it, you know what I'm saying? What do you think about it? Do you what do we what do you think that what are your thoughts on this whole plant-based meat thing and you know what I'm saying? Do you think that this is a shift in the right direction to save the planet, to eat this type of meat and move forward, or you know what I'm saying? Do you think we can do a little better than this?
We could do a whole lot better,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm not a fan of that, or the thinking behind that,
Mm-hmm.
the thought process behind that. Um from just the little studies, or information that I run across, I see a trend in just a lot of practices of just like what you call it, like wrong and strong, you know
Right.
what I mean? And
Right.
rather than like to just like say, well, this isn't working, because for the most part they do have data that shows if a certain practice works. If the whole premise is to eliminate hunger, right? And then you come about with something that is just like gonna shift how we look at farming practices, or how we look at animal husbandry, like how we raise meat, you
Right.
know, then we got to be able to say like, is this even working, and what is the benefits to that, and then also what's the tax that are we pay with our bodies, like does it have a health aspect to it, and then also what happens with the soil, even though that's not something that is touching the soil with the lab meat, right? Like
Right.
it's not grazing, you know it's in the lab. Like those are steps or processes that has been eliminated from, say, like a cow grazing out in the field eating grass, and then from you raise the cow till you slaughter the cow, then you process the cow, till the cow meat finds its way in the market. Like those are processes. Lab grown, I don't know what we'll be getting. At least I can see, and I'm not advocating for meat eating or not meat eating. I'm just saying, like, you get some of the minerals, you get some of the benefits from a cow that's eating grass. Then I don't know what benefit you would get from something that's grown in a lab. Like if that would meet our nutritional needs.
Right.
Like there's a concept of like, what is hunger?
Right.
Is it because your stomach is growling and you need something in your belly,
Mm.
or is it you need minerals and vitamins, nutrients?
Okay.
Like that's for me is where it's at. So I tend to more err towards food that's nutrient dense,
Mm.
like it's jam packed with nutrients, food that's grown in the soil, or if I'm eating animals, like animals that eat their natural food that their bodies can process, like I'm more aired towards that
Right.
um type of practice. So it's very interesting. So like, what do we eat, right? So it goes from like organic, then we have like GMO, then we have like bioengineered foods, like which is a new term, a fairly newer term that we're seeing on packaging.
Absolutely.
And
And it's the same shit, I think.
yeah, it all right. So GMO and bioengineered food, they overlap in the way how the USDA describes them, right? Or
Right.
defines the term. So I'm gonna
Right.
read, I just took a little note so I could be like and quote them, like,
Okay.
so that we could see. So like for bioengineered food, um the National Bioengineered Food Disclosure Standard defines bioengineered food as those that contain detectable genetic material that has been modified through in vitro recombinant
Mm.
deoxyribonucleic acid, which is rDNA,
Mm-hmm.
techniques, and for which the modification could not otherwise be obtained through conventional breeding or found in nature, right? So
Right.
it's food that, you know, you wouldn't it wouldn't be found in nature to pair together. GMO is an organism produced through genetic modification, right? And then hybrid, you know, in there too is like the offspring of any cross between two organisms of different genotypes. What is a genotype? Genotype is the genetic identity of an individual. A genotype is often evident by outward characteristics. Um, so, like for instance, you'll have, let's say, you'll have two varieties of roses, right? Like you'll have a red rose and then you'll have a white rose. And if you plant them fairly close together, you'll have pollinators that go, like you'll have a bee that go from flower to flower. Like, you know, he's not really discriminating, or she rather is not really discriminating which flower. And so you might end up with a next rose that has red and white petals. You know, that's a hybrid. That happens naturally with cross pollination,
Mm-hmm.
right? So GMO is bringing two or bringing organisms. I don't know even know if it's two. It could be poly. It could be more than two. But bringing specific qualities from these different plants or organism to make, like if you want a stronger, you want a plant that's resistant to a certain pest, you want to breed that out. You want to breed the resistance out, or not even breed the resistance, excuse me. You want to be able to strengthen this resistance within the plant. So you
Mm-hmm.
would take that quality and kind of make that be the attribute that you want your other crops to have, you
Okay.
know.
Okay.
um yeah, so the bioengineered is where it gets tricky, because
Mm,
that requires like the rDNA technology in order to do that genetic, to introduce these genetic materials that would
mm.
not naturally be introduced together to
So
make this one product.
yeah, I just wanted to say, I got a lot of concerns with the direction that they're going as far as the farming practices are concerned with these bioengineered and genetically modified. Now I know that perhaps I'm not going to say the total intention, that perhaps the intention was to make sure that the pest wasn't eating up the crops, and
Hmm.
so they have created these pesticides that end up doing more harm than good at the end of the day.
Hmm.
But then I was running through social media and I heard Brother Umar Johnson, and he was talking about what the things that Bill Gates is doing. Now I already got a side eye for Bill Gates, right?
Hmm.
With
Definitely.
all of the shit, you know what I'm saying, that, has been rumored that he's been behind and everything. It's just something that's just not sitting right with me. Apparently they're saying that he bought up the apple cider vinegar from Bragg's, very
Hmm.
popular brand, right? And they were known for their quality products, their apple cider vinegars. I still buy their liquid aminos. I hope Bill Gates didn't
Hmm.
buy that shit too. You know what I'm saying? I need to look into that now that I'm thinking. I may need to rethink that shit. But I know that he was putting this coating on there called Appeal on his um fruits and maybe some of the vegetables as well, is some type of coating to prevent it from decaying quickly and everything. And there were some people that also had complaints out there about the apple cider vinegar, like having like worms or parasites or whatever. It looked like it was maggots in that shit or something
Hmm.
like that. And apple cider vinegar, it doesn't go sour like that. So I'm not
No.
really sure what in the hell's going on with that. But let me see if I can pull this clip up. I forgot to see if
Hmm.
it would do that on this platform. I know it does it on my other one. So I'm gonna see if it
Hmm.
will play that. Hold on. You hear that? Okay.
No, I can't hear it.
You can't hear that? Hold up. Let me see. Could you hear that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. So for whatever reason, I think I may have to I'll play that for you. But whatever what he was saying
Yeah.
is that with this bioengineered thing, you're doing something with the seed itself. With the
Mm-hmm.
GMO, it was destroying the soil, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his concern in that clip was that with them tampering with the seed, they can target that to kind of affect people. And of course, you know how Brother Umar is getting down. He
Mm-hmm.
automatically start thinking that, we the first black folks is the first folks to catch this shit. You know what I'm saying? So they may have some type of bio weapon, you know what I'm saying, that can destroy the seed. However, my thing is that black folks ain't the only folks shopping at the grocery store, right? But
Right. Right.
what we are noticing is that we have across the bridge efforts. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To do something to the food supply. In my opinion, the way that I'm looking at it, it's more of a social control thing. You know what I'm saying? The fluoride in the water, and then a lot of the pesticides that go into the crops and everything. And I just thought that that was interesting that he was able to tie this into you because see affecting
Mm-hmm.
the seed of a crop
Mm-hmm.
that can have some profound long-term effects, especially later on down the line. Like I'm not really sure like how what that's gonna look like for foods that we call natural moving forward, you know.
Right. That's gonna be, and how food is the terms for me, and so like I try to make it like a point to like really go back to the USDA and
Mhm.
look at what their definition of these terms are, of these words, right? Because they it can appear to be like natural in the state that we know natural to be something that is, grown in its God-given way, right? And the USDA can have a slightly different meaning for what natural means, and that's what's on these labels. So to me, like they kind of manipulate the definition of these
Yeah,
terms,
yeah.
to give us the impression like we're left with the old impression, like we don't know. They don't tell us up front, like, oh, our natural means X, Y, and Z. They don't tell us that up front. They're
Mm,
using the words that we already know and the terms that we already are familiar with, and they manipulate our buying power that way,
mm.
and so going forward, like this is looking, it, it's not a good look.
No.
um
No,
you know
hell
it's
no.
not a good look
Hell no.
because one of the biggest thing is like it's a seed that does not reproduce its own self,
Right. What the hell? And
and
then
then
my
here we are
right
with
down the line,
like
there's food shortages, right?
infertility high inter yeah, and then we have high infertility rates.
Shit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All
You
types.
see what I'm saying?
Right. I'm beginning to think it might be in our best interest to get a garden, grow our own food and shit. What would you recommend if
Absolutely.
we were to start a little garden? What would you recommend that we would have in our garden? Food, health, magical. What would you recommend for
Mm.
someone starting out?
But someone starting out is like using the space that you have, whether you can grow, whether you have a small balcony, you can grow something in pots,
Mm,
right? Whether you just have like a little window space, you could grow in a pot, you can grow in a raised bed, or you can grow in ground, right? So it's the space that you have and dictates what you can grow and how much of it you can grow, right? So if you have a sunny space, then that's probably the optimum, where you have full sun for most of the day, 6 to 8 hours a day.
Right.
That would be ideal for most plant life.
Mm.
But then if you have some areas that is kind of like partial sun, partial shade, then you can figure out like which plants you could grow there. But typically herbs, and then if it's for cultural foods, like you dictate like what that food need is, and if you have the space available for that. But yeah, you could grow in pots.
Right.
Nothing wrong with growing in pots.
Mhm.
Because I know a lot of us are in urban spaces, and so it doesn't lend itself to like a lot of land space, so to speak. So we have pots, and then it could be we can have a lot of pests, like whether it's stray cats or skunks or these little creatures that go through the garden or go through the yard and stuff. Well, you could plant in raised beds,
Mhm.
take it off the ground, plant in raised beds, um, or plant in ground if you have that space. But yeah, definitely start something.
Oh, I did not. So that's what the raised beds are for, to keep the pests out.
It's to keep that part. That's like a byproduct of it. But the raised beds really is if you don't have the best soil.
Oh,
If
okay.
the ground, if you don't, and so living in urban spaces, that's probably best because we have a lot of buildings, and
Hmm.
and it could the soil can have like a lot of lead in
Okay.
it or a lot of heavy metals,
Okay.
and so you would probably want to, ideally you would test the soil first to see
Oh,
if it's good, that you can build on it, or if you just need to do a raised bed, then you could just
okay.
do a raised
Okay.
bed.
Because I was about to say, I was say I can't beat that groundhog. That's why I stopped gardening, because he won. I just threw in the towel. He won. You know what I'm saying?
The
The
groundhogs, oh
groundhog,
my
man, I
gosh.
can't win, man. I just can't win. I tried everything. You know what I'm saying? So the hell with that dude. So
They set up shop when they
and they,
move in, and then they start a family,
I'm telling you, man, they
and they
nefarious.
all eating good.
And they eating good too, man. And they was coming in there, and they,
Yes.
and there was nothing that I could do. I mean, I thought I had a foolproof little system going on. I done set up. It was like Wile E. Coyote and the Road Runner and shit, messing
Yes.
around with this
Yes.
groundhog. So I just threw in the towel. Now, um, I put some tomatoes out there, thinking that he wouldn't
Mhm.
get it. Somebody went out there and got it. I'm guessing it must have been him. So
Mm.
I'm like, I give up. So now all I deal with for the most part is herbs, but I really want to get back on
Mhm.
growing my own food because of all of the fuckery and foolishness that's going on around there. And even though I won't reach as far as Umar is with the
Mhm.
conspiracy, use the seed to destroy the black community. You know what I'm saying? The
Mhm.
seed that's being used, not only could it be detrimental to our health at the end of the day, but long-term consequences, we could have some serious issues with that. And so then I
That
take
part.
that, looking at long-term consequences because of the way that this energy is, I thought about
Mhm.
like gardening principles, and we can see how that corresponds to real life, as above,
Mm.
so below, and in
Yes.
relationships, for example, you know what I'm saying? We plant seeds and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
That part.
And
That part.
let's talk a little bit about the seeds that we plant, because a lot of times it seems like, we really need to know what seed we're planting. You know what I'm saying?
That part. Yeah. We do, like figuratively and literally,
Yeah.
right? Like what is the where are you getting your seeds from, right? Literally.
Literally.
um so seed companies, like, do your research. If you're growing from seed, then you would want to know like which seed company and what are their belief system, right? Because some do use GMO or genetically modified seeds to breed for a certain type of resistance, and then others are like heirloom or rare seeds, or been passed down for generations. So yeah, so what to me, like farming is a whole metaphor for living on this planet.
Absolutely.
You know, it's literally like hand in hand the same things, right? So when I think of like seed seeding, right, which is like you're
Right.
sowing seeds, right? And then you have the time, it's a time to sow seeds, and then it's a time to harvest, right? So it's like that, what happens between the time you sow and the time you reap?
Right.
You know, what are the stages that you go through? You know, like well, first of all, you have the land, or has to be fertile for the seed to take root,
Mm,
right? So
right.
it has to be fertile for for the seed to germinate.
Mm-hmm.
um then it's like you cast your seeds, like if you're direct sowing, like if you're directly putting them in the soil, you cast your seed, right? You
Right.
put them onto the soil, and then you let the sun, you let the water, you let the earth take care of it.
Right.
Then it's like some seeds need. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was about to get in there and just like really, bring that in there to how that translate. Because like, let's say, like if we planting seeds, like, okay, I got some lavender seeds. I'm gonna try to see if I can
Yeah.
do some last minute lavender, whatever. We go see what happened with it. I found them
Yep.
when I was cleaning. So I'm gonna try to plant those and see what happened. But in real life, we'll see people, we'll plant seeds of deception, you know
That part.
and
That
then
part.
the expectation of a harvest of honesty, and we act surprised when it don't work out that way. And one of the things
Right.
we really got to come to terms with when we're being honest with ourselves, because I'm bringing this back to this whole Neptune and
Mm-hmm.
Pisces retrograde, right?
Mm-hmm.
These seeds that we planting out here, in our relationships, when we find ourselves in these connections, whether it's platonic or it's a romantic relationship,
Mm-hmm.
right? So planting seeds of a fair weather friends, you know what I'm saying, or
Mm-hmm.
good time girls, and then you find yourself in a relationship, in a karmic cycle somewhere that we don't want to be at, and we wonder how in the hell that we got there. You know what I'm saying?
We've cast our
Planting,
seeds too wide,
yeah,
and it's beyond our scope. Like it's
mm,
outside of our range. It's outside of our control,
woo,
right? So
woo,
when we but that is beyond our reach,
mm,
and so it has more control over us than we do them than we it, right? So like sowing seeds, the process of growing something from seed, right? It takes the fertile land, you put the seed on the land, you water it, it germinates, it starts to grow root. But hey, you don't know what's in the soil, you cannot
mm,
see
good
what's under there,
soil.
that's in the dark. There's other things at play that helps that seed to germinate and to take root, that is beyond our control, that's beyond our scope, that's not our thing. You know,
Woo,
we can't do what the fungal hyphae doing, and we can't do what the amoebas and these different bacterias are doing in the soil to help nourish and fertilize that seed so that it can push up and break ground.
mm-hmm,
Once that seed breaks ground and we can see it, then we say, oh, we can water it, it needs to be fertilized, we're tending to it, because now we see that it has potential, it has growth, it's growing, it's a living thing now.
mm-hmm.
It has taken root. Do I want to nourish this? Yes. So I water it, I go and check on it, and I pluck the weeds because I don't want the weeds to take over.
Woo,
The weeds are, if we're going to use that like in terms of relationship, these are doubtful thinking,
right,
self-sabotage,
right.
um what do you call it, like, I don't, I'm not enough, self-limiting,
Right.
beliefs. right?
Right.
These are the pests
Right.
of the
Absolutely.
mind,
Absolutely.
that doubt, right?
Absolutely.
So we weed, take out these weeds because we don't want them to take up the nutrients that our plant needs to grow,
Come
and to
on.
grow strong and grow healthy. So we're very mindful of that, you know. What's next? Well, does this plant need a support system?
Mm,
Does it need a trellis? Like it
mm,
needs something that it can climb on. Like if we're going growing peas or beans, like they need a trellis. It needs a structure that it can, reach out on and climb so that it can expand above the ground and feel supported to sprout some flowers and to grow some fruit. So we provide the structure,
right.
right? We give it something, we give it a structure system. So a good structure system would be like with friends and stuff, like who can you turn to and talk to when you need some type of advice or counsel, when you want to get outside of your own thinking and your own thoughts to get some objective, um feedback, to let
Right.
you know like where you need to go and what you're looking at in a limited type of way. We need help from others.
Right.
It's not
Absolutely.
going to come from within, because that could be a hard pull to reach.
Right.
So we need that structure around us. We need that community.
Yeah.
We need that, ability to lean back into something and feel supported, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
um then the plant has the structure. Now it's like, oh, I can grow fruit now. I can grow fruit. I'm well provided for. I have the sun. I have the rainwater. This person waters me sometimes whenever it's not raining often. And so I have what I need. I have the support of the soil that nourishes me and feeds me. And I give back to the soil as well, and I feed them. So now it's harvest time. We have fruit. Our hard work has like really paid off. Our consistency, our diligence have paid off, and we have fruit. We have something that we can take from this plant that we've nourished, and we can feed our bodies with it. Like we could feel whole. We get that back. We bring our own energy back to
Mm,
us. It gives us back what we have poured in.
yeah.
It
Absolutely.
gives us back,
And I
right? So that,
love how you talked about that support system, because I think that so many of us, including myself, we tend to sometimes think that when we're going through shit, that we're all alone and that no
yes.
one gets us. And I'm so glad that I have you here today, sis, because spirit was really like laying on my heart, you know. As you go through social media and everything, you see so many of the younger generation. They are beginning to like embrace this free expression culture, and I
Mhm.
think it's a beautiful and a wonderful thing. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
we're also we also we're also planting some seeds that may not
Right.
be beneficial at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Those seeds that we plant. And when we find ourselves doing things for the attention, you know what I'm saying? And the mentality, it being like some attention is better than no attention at all. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Um, I remember when we were in the cipher, it was one of the girls who said the one of the mentalities of some of the girls are, I'll give it to you before you can take it to me. And that's an attempt to like hold power and everything. And what that turns into, have you heard that song by Prince called Little Red Corvette?
Yes.
Little
Yeah.
Red Corvette
Yeah.
syndrome, right? Where you know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful car. It's
Yep.
pretty. It's nice to drive, but it's just too fast. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? And we
Yes.
find ourselves in situations where we're not involved in any type of meaningful connections, not that we really want, even though this is what we want. we'll find ourselves in situations, in connections that will be outside of what we really desire. Or we'll pretend, we'll put on a facade that's not really true to who we are, and find ourselves linked up in a circle, in a community that's not really authentic to who we are. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And so
right, right.
going back to the soil again, these the seeds that we plant. And so then I started thinking to myself, well, we need sunlight in order for the true plants to thrive. So
Mhm.
bringing that light to this to situations, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And looking at the connections that we got, whether you got yourself a creep tip thing, you know what I'm saying, where
Mhm.
you don't meet the friends or the family, it's a late night thing and everything. It's one-sided, your relationship, whether it's a platonic, you got a friend that
Mhm.
you thinking that this is my bestie, we go be ride or dies, you know what I'm saying? It's
Right, right.
there's no reciprocity, it's void of care and
Yeah,
support and validation and everything. And
yeah.
so you know what I'm saying? This is really a time for us
Mm.
right now, love, where spirit is really showing me like this retrograde is a golden opportunity for us to spend some time alone
Oh
and
yeah.
get 150% real with
Yes.
ourselves to figure out
Yeah.
what it is that we want.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
can't get what you want until you know what you want. So you really got
Yeah.
to spend some time diving deep with that. You know what I'm saying?
Def-
About
absolutely.
what are the things
That.
that make you feel appreciated and supported? I remember there was a book out. I forgot who wrote that book. I slipped on that, but he had this
Mm,
book out called The Five Love Languages, right?
mm,
The five love languages are acts of service, words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, and physical touch. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you looking on the chart and everything, your love language,
mhm.
you probably want to locate where your Venus is at and also where your Mercury is at, because your Venus is how you do relationships and shit like that, right? And your Mercury is how you communicate with other people, and that varies. And a lot of times we find ourselves in these karmic ties, in these karmic relationships, because we're not letting enough sunlight get in, like you were just talking about. If we go do some home
Mhm.
props, right? if we
Yeah.
doing if we're doing gardens at home, if we're doing gardens with limited space, we need to make sure that there's plenty of sunlight to get in order for the plant to thrive, you know?
Mhm.
So when we
That
are all
part.
on the same page, you know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
like gardening, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Relationships, that feeling of feeling nurtured and supported, that begins to thrive. And we begin, because we're plants too on some levels, I think, because
We
we still
are. It,
water, we need water, we need food, we need support, we need nurturing
mhm.
and all of that. So just knowing that what does that what that love language is and what that looks like. Because see, if you got a friend who has, let's say, like Venus in Virgo, you know what I'm saying, that's acts of service. You know what I'm saying, how you showing up for
Mm,
them. You know what I'm saying, where
mm.
somebody else may have something like um 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 let's say Venus in
What
Pisces.
about okay.
Yeah. Oh, what was you going to say? Venus
I
with
was I was about to say, what about Venus in Sag?
Venus in Sag. I think that would probably be like maybe words of affirmation, maybe
Mm.
quality time. Maybe,
Wow. Okay. Yeah,
yeah, maybe
I can
maybe
see that.
you know what I'm saying? I don't see Venus and Sag like receiving gifts. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
know,
no, I'm
it's
a
not,
Venus
I
in
mean,
Sag.
it's a nice thing. That's more of a Venus and Leo thing. You know what I'm saying? Where
Yeah,
you receiving
yeah,
gifts, words of affirmation, shit like that and everything. You know what I'm saying? But those
yes.
things are important to know, because see, didn't you find yourself in a disconnect in these connections? And then we sit back and
That
we get mad at somebody because we like, this person is bad people. They bad news. I don't fuck with them no more because they don't care about me. And they may have a completely different perspective on what love looks like for them, what the love language is. I've been married for years, and me, like I said, I have Venus and Virgo, but I'm also, you know what I'm saying? I also have Mercury and Leo. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So Leo, acts of service, words of affirmation. I need to know that
yeah.
that what's happening is appreciated. I need to get some feedback on that and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Where my husband has his is it's like in Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
he's more about, you know what I'm saying, quality time and everything. So I have to make sure
Yeah.
that I'm giving him adequate time because that's how he sees it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well,
Right,
this
right.
and that and the other one the hell. You know what I'm saying? But
Yes.
we gotta be on
That
the same page with that. You know?
that part, because it goes back to like with the plants. Um it's all right. So bringing it back to like what are not necessary, like wants are different from needs, right? And I
Mhm.
feel like at the core it'll be the needs, that we're not, for like especially with relationships, and how, like you were saying, like these young people are going about, changing that, you know
Mhm.
that it might not be the the whole path of that might not lead to happiness or having your needs fulfilled,
Right.
because it's kind of like I'm gonna get you before you get me type of
Mm,
thing. So
mm,
so it speaks to like, are you, what kind of hungry are you?
mm,
Like are you hungry just to get your belly full? And you can fill your belly with anything. You could fill your belly with a McDonald's Happy Meal. Or are you like starving
mm.
because you need nutrients? You need the actual building blocks
Yeah, yeah.
that your cells need in order
Mhm.
to feel
Mm,
secure.
mm, mm.
And for the most part, we've been going for the McDonald's Happy Meal. The my belly is hungry, like I feel, yeah, and we're
Let me
just filling
boy.
it and filling it, and we're still hungry,
Mhm.
we're still not getting what we need.
Mm. That sound like Bob Marley's song, "Them belly full, but they hungry."
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
and so that's what you were talking about, like when you
yeah.
were saying like this is a really good time to like really dive into self, to like really get to like the bottom of it,
Absolutely.
to get to that raw truth
Right.
of what it is that we need.
That's the
And
weeding
to,
process. I see it. When we get in
yes,
that garden and start
yes,
pulling out these damn weeds, you know,
yes, pull
I
them
was out
out and
there,
just be real,
right.
because are we are we fertilizer for somebody else? Because weeds can be used as fertilizer. We could pull them, we
Mm,
could make a fermentation out of them, and
mm.
we can spray them on other plants to give them the minerals that they need.
Get the heck out of here.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
tossing them weeds and everything. And I'm gonna tell you something. And I got this download out there in the garden because I just got herb garden and flowers and everything.
Yes.
I really want to get my vegetable going right if I can figure out how to maneuver
Ooh.
this groundhog. But you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But the whole weeding process, when I was pulling it
Mhm.
out, you know what I'm saying? Spirit was really like depositing a lot of stuff about, see, this really important that you pull those weeds out, getting
Yes.
rid of things in your life that don't serve you.
Yeah.
Is all about weed in your garden. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In our relationships, like I say, I know that it's coming from an empowerment perspective, but if we lead in our relationships with superficial shit, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Superficial, like looks or money and
Yeah.
material. You got a big booty. He driving a
Yeah.
Range Rover. That's all that matter in these streets. You know what I'm
Right.
Then
Right.
we'll find ourselves, you know what I'm saying, in a space that's not really authentic to where we're going, or not or allowing things that we don't want within our relationships, you know. So many times there was a time where I used to have a girlfriend of mine, and these is things that I used to observe going forward. And this is why today I'm kind of firm with making sure that when I'm in a friendship with a woman, you do not call. I don't call, and I won't allow anybody. Do not call me a bitch. You know,
Right.
I know that's in good.
Right.
I know that's in
Same.
I know that it's all love. I am not trying to hate on the fun and hate on how girls play with each other, you know.
Yes.
But what I have observed is that when you use that shit, it
Mm.
makes it so easy when
Yes,
you
it
get
does.
angry to move into the realm of
Yes, it does.
disrespect. It's a seed you planted because we
Absolutely.
already started, we opened that door and everything. And so if there's some other background
Yeah.
resentments, you know what I'm saying, some stuff that's unresolved that comes out,
Mm-hmm.
it all comes out when anger is provoked. And then
Right.
it's so easy to belittle, disrespect, and tear your girl down when
Yeah.
you're upset and angry, because we already done set the stage of calling each other these type of names. And like I said, I
Right.
call everybody niggas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But it's something about calling females a bitch that takes that fucking relationship to another level later on down the line.
That
Cute and
it,
funny
it
at first.
yeah, and that's because it's planted in jest,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's
Mm-hmm.
planted, that seed is planted like, oh, it's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And what that is very deceptive.
Mm-hmm.
There's like some weeds that, man, you have, it's not just that you have to pull them out, but you have to like suffocate them. You don't want to put that in your compost. You don't want to pull it and put it, and just put it in your compost pile or whatever it is. Like, there's some that you have to pull, and these are like the viney ones that strangle. They grow on your plants and they wrap around them and they
Yes.
choke them out. They strangle them.
Yes. Yes.
Those
Yes.
you pull them out,
Uh-huh.
and you kind of leave them out in the sun to dry out, and you gotta bag those up and
Right.
throw them out.
And throw them the hell
Like,
down,
you can't
down
even,
straight.
you understand? Like, those are
Right.
like some that is just like, nah, you don't want those near your plants or anything. You don't want those near anything that you want to harvest later,
Hold
because
up.
it will choke it out.
Absolutely. Hold up, because we are closing it out. But if you have some more things that you want to say, I can stop this and
Hmm.
we can bring it on to another section. Now, see, this is why I think that this is so essential, so important right about now, because if we don't put these weeds, this shit
Hmm.
out to the sunlight, we find ourselves on a whole nother cycle. We end
Hmm.
up getting a harvest, a crop that we didn't want because we planting the wrong seeds. So now I'm sitting up here looking at sunflowers when I was trying to plant lavender. I'm sitting
Hmm.
up here looking at zucchini when I meant to plant cucumber. You know what I'm saying? Because we planting the wrong seeds at the end of the day. So you got to be able to wash away all of that stuff at the end of the day. Because when we harvest, hold up, you still
Hmm.
got to be able, after you get that harvest and you yield that crop, you still got to bring that shit in the house, wash it away, make sure that there ain't no pests, no debris, and none of that shit at the very
Right.
end of the day. Um,
Right.
Listen, let me go ahead, because we starting to wield into the last couple minutes in this and everything.
Hmm.
And I want you to be able to wrap up all of the things that you want to say. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to give us a reset. So then that way you can go ahead and finish your points. So hold just one sec. Give
Hmm.
us 1 second. This is Queen Bridgette. We go get part two. Just one sec. All righty. All right. All right. All right, there we go. So yeah, so here we go. We back in the house again. We still talking about these weeds that's in that garden and everything. And Queen Bridget really made a profound statement about, see, there's some of these weeds that's in the garden that turn into vines. They wrap all around the plants. I know exactly the one she's talking about, because this where I got that download from. That you got to pull the hell up out of that garden, and you got to throw them out and put them out in the sunlight and let them die. And this, like in real life, when you find yourself in these situations where you got weeds, and you find yourself with weeds in your garden in real life, literally, right? And these weeds is about those things that's not really serving us. They're strangling our growth. They're stopping us from being able to thrive. We got to shed light on them. We got to pull them out. But we got to be brave enough, and we got to be in this space where we can shine the light on it so that that shit can die and we can move forward and the garden can thrive. So go ahead, sis. Let me I just wanted to make sure I summarize where we was at. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Go
thank
ahead.
you for that. That was beautiful. Like, I mean, it is to be more intentional about the seeds that we're planting, right? And to be consistent with that. So like we want to protect that you know this the fragile state of allowing something to take root, something that's new, a new vision that we have for ourselves, a new
Mm,
way of being that we want to carry forward. It's still very new, and that is a vulnerable time for us. So we still want to be able to be in that protective state where we are diligent about what we're not allowing to grow and fester around us. we
mm,
want to we want to protect that space. That is our vulnerable state. We want to be hyper vigilant about being protective of that. We have to be protective over our vulnerability, because because in that we're shedding old skin. So here
yeah,
we are new. We can't go out in the full sunlight just bare. We want to
yeah.
be able to protect ourselves and lead up to that time, make sure that we secure our
Hmm.
place. We can
Yes.
take root, that new vision of ourselves, that new way we're walking, that new path we're walking. We want to be able to lay down the bricks and make sure that we can walk it safely. And in
Yeah.
the time when we're vulnerable, we have to be diligent about the self-sabotaging, the old patterns, the having the friends who are not feeding us, but are us, but who are draining and taking from us, taking our nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be mindful, and then we also want to boost up our courage to be able to recognize that and to take action,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we take action by either we're not allowing them to speak the way how they speak around us, or we're removing ourselves from that. There's a difference between when it comes to certain plants. Perennials, they grow, they come back over time. Like if you have a winter,
Mm-hmm.
they'll die back in the winter and then they'll come back again in the spring. You don't have to seed them, you don't have to replant, they just come back on their own.
Those are.
They require a different type of soil.
Mm-hmm.
Like they like more of a fungal hyphae. They like their soil to have mostly fungal hyphae in
Mm-hmm.
there, right? They have that support system from the fungus, from the mycelium network and all of that. The perennials, which are the annuals rather, which are
Okay.
the plants that you have to seed, and year after year, like you pull it up and you harvest it and then you have to replant it and stuff like that. They require more of a bacterial soil,
Mm.
right? They can tolerate a more bacterial soil. They don't need that. They like the fungal hyphae too, but that's not, their jam all like that, even though they benefit from it. So it's knowing what your needs are and making sure you're in the right environment for that.
So
And so mhm.
go ahead, please. Go ahead. Finish. Finish.
Yep. So some of the hard, decisions to make is to let go of the familiar, because we're familiar with the pain. We're familiar with our needs not getting met. We're familiar with complaining about our needs not being met. We're familiar with someone else falling short when it comes on to their promises, the promises that they make to us. Like
Mm,
we're familiar with not with having visions, but not really having a plan for them, actual plan for them and seeing
absolutely.
them through.
Yeah,
Like those are familiar habits.
absolutely.
And if we are moving beyond that, then it takes courage to do something a little bit different, you
Yeah.
know?
I was looking, I was just really taking in what you were saying, and you were talking about the perennials versus the
Mhm.
annuals. And that's another analogy that we can really take a look at, right?
Mhm.
Because see, the perennials and the annuals, you know what I'm saying? The perennials, see, there's when you're dealing with different types of relationships, we need to recognize those that are in our lives for a season versus
Right.
those that are in our lives that will continue to come back over and
Yes.
over again, because there's a different level of care that goes to those particular relationships, right?
Right.
See, those perennial relationships, the long-term relationships, these is the ones that go through all of the season when the winter comes, right? And that time where, we don't see each other so much and all
Mhm.
of that other stuff. But then when we get together, everything goes back to where it was. Ain't nothing changed but the weather, right? Those is the
Right.
perennials, right? But those annuals, they're seasonal, right? I was working on this project, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
To put something together, we had that in common. And then when that time is over with, we see each other. We may say what's up on
Right.
social media and all of that other stuff, but it's not that type of connection. And a
Yeah.
lot of times we get disappointed because we think that we got a perennial relationship. But
Right.
what we got at the end of the day is an annual relationship.
Right.
And we need to make sure that we know the difference between the two before we fuck around. I remember one time I thought I had some marigolds. I didn't know. See, the marigolds that I was getting, they used to pop up every year. And
Mhm.
believe it or not, I got the fucking perennial marigolds from the dollar store, right?
Mhm.
So I thought that, I'm at Home Depot and I go in there and I get a pot of marigolds down there. Those marigolds were annual marigolds. I was
Mhm.
very disappointed because I
Mhm.
thought I had me something long term.
Right.
That's like with a lot of folks, like folks that I used to work with. I thought we were good together. What a good connection. We finishing each other's sentences and shit. We watched the same
Mhm.
TV shows. Of course we would be friends later on down the line. Maybe not.
Right, right, right. The connections, it wasn't like a wide and broad, strong connection,
Right,
right?
right.
Like it was very limited, right?
Mhm.
Um, because
Right.
are they shallow roots or are they roots that go deep, you know?
Absolutely.
With the perennial friends, even that needs grooming, right? Because the winter time comes around, or like even in the fall, and you got to cut them back. Like if you
Mm,
got sage or any type of bush, you got to cut it back. You got to prune it.
right. Hello.
You
Oh,
got to prune it. Otherwise, you're
okay.
gonna have a lot of dead branches and stuff or it's gonna grow beyond the capacity that you want it to grow, or not
Mm,
even that.
right.
It's just going to be a lot of dead branches in there. So you
Right.
want to prune it back so that it comes back healthy and full,
Mm,
right? And
mm,
so that's even with the perennial, with our long-term relationships, they need pruning.
absolutely.
We got to be able to shape up and to grow in the direction in a healthy way, where it's conducive for all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And see that prune process, I look at it where it translates into our friendships and our connections is about boundaries, right?
Yes.
Because see, if we don't kind of trim it, you fuck around and have somebody all up in your business, all up in your situation,
Yeah.
showing up uninvited, you know what I'm saying?
That
Peeping through
part.
the window like Barney Rubble and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Reaching cross boundaries, like
Right. So you got to make sure that you know what I'm saying, that you prune that plant, you know what I'm saying,
yes,
so that it holds a space that's
yes,
comfortable for both of us.
yes.
Absolutely. I
Yes,
love that.
man. Yo, I love talking gardening with you. Like,
Hey, come on now. I'm telling you, man, this gardening thing. I said, you know what, this gardening thing, there's a lot of deeper wisdoms within that. But then I start thinking about, because I tried to hurry up and summarize it because I wasn't sure if you had time to continue forward and everything.
I
But
do.
where I thought about the harvest part, right?
Yeah.
So now we pulling up the crops at the end of the day and everything. So now let's say we got ourselves a real connection, a circle,
Mhm.
a community that's going on, and we gather up the harvest and we bring it all in. You know, the
Yeah.
lessons still show up within that, because when we come home, I mean, I have never brought no crops from out in the garden and then brought them right to my table and commenced to eating them. I gotta clean that
Right.
shit first.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. It's a whole, it's a process after harvest. So post, it's called post harvest, right? Like what do you do with that? So post harvest, and usually the harvest is abundant, right? Like it's plentiful. Like you have more than what can feed your family.
Mm,
And so you have an overflow,
yeah.
right? So you want to share this. You want to share this harvest because this is what the bounty of the earth have shown us. Like, there is no shortage of food. As
Yeah.
every farmer knows this, there is no shortage of food.
Mm,
Um, because I mean, the seed, if you go back to the seed, and I got an okra. Let me see, I got an okra, I got a little vial with some okra seeds in here.
okay.
And I mean, the okra, like one seed has everything. Look at this. Look how tiny this is, you
Mm,
know? It's the
mm-hmm.
okra seed, right? This one seed is one plant, but it has, the seed contains the whole plant, the fruit thereof. So the
Mm,
seed contains the fruit. So it's self-containing,
mm,
self-sustaining.
mm.
You get
That's,
everything that the plant is ever going to be is in the seed.
we already got it within
It's
everything.
already within. It's already within. How do we nurture that? Is it in fertile grounds?
Mm-hmm.
How do and if it's not, well, what are the steps that you take to make sure it's in fertile grounds
Absolutely.
within yourself?
That's
That's
profound.
that's where that self-work is,
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
know, because you want the satisfaction, you want the joy of your vision breaking ground. You want the joy of your seed breaking ground to let you know, like, yo, this land is fertile. I can do it. These are the ways. Um, what were we talking about before? I just lost my thought. But yeah, I just lost.
Hey,
I just
listen, I'm
lost.
going to tell you something. You dropped some beautiful gems today, sis. I love this, because at the very end of the day, even though those is the seeds that we plant and they need to be nurtured, everything that you have is already within.
It
But
is.
we can't be in this place where we think that we don't need no support. And this is why you need that soil, that
Mhm.
good ground to
Mhm.
plant seed in, so that it will nurture you, so that it will support you, so that you can grow, so that you can thrive. It is essential to our
Mhm.
survival to make sure that we're planting our seeds in good ground, and we're planting the correct seeds so that we can get the harvest that we're looking for at the end of the day. And during
Yes.
this particular point
Mhm.
in time, where we have this Neptune in Pisces retrograde, the
Mhm.
Saturn in Pisces retrograde, at this particular time, these are points in times that are really encouraging us to dive a little bit deeper and really begin evaluating not only our connections, but how we've been moving in these streets. and the role that we've been playing out here, so that we can make these adjustments, so that we can really make some major shifts in our experiences. Because if we got things that's going on in our life that we notice that are repeat themes and everything, that's your indication right there, your blinking red light, that you might want to check in and kind of be really brutally honest with what's going on with yourself. Because see, I had to check into it, be like, okay, I gotta watch the tone in my voice.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, I'm rubbing folks the wrong way, and I got to really check in with myself, because I get all balled up with energy and everything, and it start flowing out, and then people's like, oh, energy. You know what I'm saying? So we all got our shit that we got to check in on. This ain't sitting here trying to beat up folks that's finding themselves in situations, because this game we call life, you know? And if we can offer some keys, some tools, that's really going to help us to build, to get better at it. And I love how Queen Bridgette came in here with her garden wisdom, coming in here, not only giving us some points on how to get food that will help and nurture us in the physical, but as well as the mental and the spiritual as well. We got some food for thought right here, y'all. Is there anything that you wanted to add before we close this out, love?
Yeah. I would like to thank you again for inviting me to your podcast. Like, this
I
was
love it.
amazing.
This
And I
was the
love, yes, and I love talking all things farm, gardening, because it's such a metaphor again, like for life.
yes,
It's applicable to how we're living our lives. And
absolutely,
it's a mirror to our lives.
absolutely.
And one of the things that I would like to leave with is compassion, for us to
Mm.
have compassion,
Oh,
for ourselves. Like, we're so used to giving it to others and to comforting others and being there for others and being that support for others. Well, now is the time to be a support to ourselves,
absolutely,
and to really feel what
absolutely,
somebody else feels when we give them our support. Like, I want to feel my support for myself so I can feel what others feel when I support them. I want to give that same support to myself
mm-hmm.
so that
Absolutely.
I too can relish in that, and to feel safe
Mm,
and to feel held and to feel secure.
absolutely.
It's such a time where it's just like, yeah, we're diving in deep to like really look at these old patterns, or these traumas that whatever's been laying dormant, that's now stirring up and making itself known, for us to do something. The other side of that too is that we don't want to pick ourselves apart. Like, that's not the goal. That's not the task. We're not going to pick ourselves apart to where we feel like, oh, this is so much work. Like, am I ever going to change, or am I ever going to, lead the life that I see for myself? Like, no, you are.
Mm,
So when you feel like you're picking yourself apart, is just say, oh, that's too much, too much. You're doing too much.
yeah.
Bring it back to compassion for yourself, because the whole point, the whole goal is for you to be able to like see these patterns, see these traits, and to feel like there's a way forward.
Mm.
Yeah,
There go your
there's a
confirmation that just went through. I don't know if you heard that.
I did. Yes,
Woo! Confirmation
yes,
in these streets. I thought that
yes.
yeah, well, I guess not the computer, whatever. Yeah, that powerful, powerful. When you said that, plant a seed of compassion. Woo,
Mm,
that part right there. Okay, now
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, Metatron had given me a
Mhm.
download about planting seeds of kindness. He said, "You plant a seed of kindness and watch."
Mhm.
Watch. Now, it's a whole channel that's in there, and I got that at another
Mm.
location. But
Yeah.
that was how he wrapped that up about planting that seed
Yeah.
of kindness. Watch what that does. That seed of kindness right there, it it blooms into something so
Mm.
beautiful at the end of the day.
Mm.
I remember hearing, what did they how does that saying go? People don't remember exactly what you say to them. They remember how you made them feel. Yeah.
Mm.
You know,
That part.
that part right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That
And
right
so it's like, aren't we due to make our own selves feel good?
there. Mm.
Like we're well overdue for that.
Can we do that for ourselves? So
Yes.
one of the things that I've been noticing too, because like these archangels have been really prominent, um, especially during the past few years. And right about now, we're in Cancer season. And so the Archangel Gabriel kind of holds space over Cancer season. And the Archangel Gabriel is here to assist us with communication, you know? He also helps us, you know what I'm saying? He works with creation, motherhood energy, you know what I'm saying? Those giving births and all of that. Um, but he also helps us to be able to work with our higher self and getting clear, intuitive channels, works with us in purification for guidance and awakening. And working with him, he will help you to be able to make these adjustments in our communication where we fail to meet expectations because we got our lines crossed with with the love languages. The
Mhm.
stories, what we're telling ourselves at the end of the day. You know, getting into these
Mhm.
spaces where we're able to be like really truthful with ourselves. Okay, the Archangel Jophiel is coming through too to remind us that she will be here to work with us with wisdom and illumination and energy renewal as well. So that's another archangel to work with as well. However, where I'm going with
Mhm.
is that when we begin to start speaking a little differently to ourselves,
Yes.
we can start we're in a space where we're accepting all of those things, right or wrong, that's within us and everything. We ain't pretending, no, that ain't me, that's them, not me,
Right.
that's somebody else. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? We get into this space now because our conversation in our mind is changing about what this looks like and how this translates for us, right? So if we sitting back and we say,
Mhm.
oh girl, you shouldn't do that, that's hoish behavior, you shouldn't do that because that makes you two-faced, or whatever in the hell that is, you know what I'm saying? We got to find a way to have enough compassion for ourselves to recognize what we're trying to do. I was just trying to make a connection with someone.
Mhm.
I was just trying
Mhm.
to reach out for love. I just wanted to make friends with people. I had, whatever the intention was, it always goes back to us wanting more love for ourselves, right? So, can we have enough compassion to let a lot of that judgment stuff go? We know what it is. We check that shit at the door, right? But we can make that
Mhm.
adjustment in love because we know that at the end of the day, our true intention was really only to make things better for ourselves. And once we can
Mhm.
get that, then we can really heal that
Mhm.
and move forward and begin making choices that's really going to support us moving forward, you know? So, what a powerful time to be
Yeah.
alive. The divine is giving us a love shot and a high five so that we can
Mhm.
really, really make these corrections and live our absolute best life. What a
Ashe.
powerful time to be alive. Woo! Again,
Absolutely. Yes. There
absolutely.
was a there was a quote, like, as you were talking, like, that just really came to me. Like, I forgot who said it, but it goes, you know, what appealed to the caterpillar
Mm.
cannot tempt the butterfly.
Come on now. Come on now.
Right?
Come
So
on now.
it's like moving from the old into your new. What used to tempt you back in your old life that
Mm,
you're looking to release yourself, like transform from,
hmm.
is not gonna appeal to you in your new life,
Right,
you
right,
know? And
right,
so that to me was just like, oh, it's defining like which stage are you
right,
within this metamorphosis,
right,
so that you can really see where you are. You can locate where you are
right.
and know what lies ahead of you so that you could give yourself grace, so that you could give yourself grace because we're on this journey
Absolutely.
of self-realization, and this is a trial and error. It's not a one size fits all. It's not a walk in a park. It's not, sometimes we take the scenic route, you
Sometimes,
know,
yeah, right. But sometimes
and
we need to
sometimes,
learn. Right.
we find a little pothole, you
Absolutely.
know,
Absolutely.
but we get back up.
Right. And sometimes that's exactly what's necessary in order for us to
Yeah.
get to where we need to be at. There's no, sometimes, now listen, I'm going to tell you something. One of the things the Spirit has really been telling me is that we ain't got to go through a change in order for
Mhm.
us to be able to move forward, to ascend, to get to where we want to, right? But then
Exactly.
sometimes when we going through the struggle, we got to know that sometimes we got to do struggle for strength. You know what I'm
That
saying?
part.
So we really got to take that and be encouraged. Now you only got to make that struggle for yourself because see, I done got so used to the fucking hard way that I start to hold up. This too easy. I should hold on. I need to go through
Same.
it.
Didn't have to exercise my strength. What?
Right, right. Hold up. I ain't got to go through a change. Wait a minute. Something wrong with this. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
I'm sad at it. If I ain't got to go through.
Side eye.
Right,
We
right,
might reject it,
right,
you know, because
right,
it's like it's like that was too easy. That must have something attached to it,
right.
you
Absolutely.
know, something that I can't see right now, you
Yes.
know, that's gonna get me later.
Absolutely, absolutely. But the divine is really showing that you ain't got to go. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get to swim downstream. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Sometimes you
Yes.
do it. You know,
Yeah,
it's
it'll be that lazy river, like, you know what
yeah.
I mean?
Sometimes we can coast, right? We can. What is that? Merrily, 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 gently down.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes. You
So
know?
we get to do that and shit. We definitely
Yeah.
to do that. What a powerful time this is for us to be able to grow, to be able to make these adjustments and everything and break a lot of generational patterns.
Hmm.
That has been going on for so many generations where we are in relationships where we struggle and we go through changes on all levels. You know what I'm saying? Contemptuous marriages, contemptuous friendships, contemptuous what it neighbor connections and shit. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
can't even get along with the neighbors and shit. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And a lot of us we've been doing that and everything, and we get to really check in because sometimes they may be somebody that's just a piece of work. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Some folks out here that's like that, but then we got to also check in on how we responding too. You
Right.
know,
Right.
and what role are we playing in that? And what is given? What is how is the energy that we're putting out being received? That's where I'm going.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So a bit of like self-awareness, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And being able to like accept that like our feelings gotta be hurt. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, because feelings are feelings, and sometimes we try to avoid like hurt feelings,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's hurt feelings caused by somebody else or hurt feelings caused by us realizing certain truths about ourselves.
Absolutely.
Um, but the one thing with feelings or emotions is that like they usually change and shift to suit some part of our ego,
Right.
and so to me it's just an indication that something is happening, something is there,
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily like full on believe my feelings or like, my thoughts when it comes on to certain things, because I know it's linked to my ego and I'm trying to feel secure,
Right.
in a way.
Right.
But to make a practice of being able to have that self or that internal dialogue to say, like, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I don't do everything the quote unquote like right way. Somebody's gonna have a reaction. Somebody's gonna react in a way where, you know, might they might be upset or whatever that is. But I could take that information and kind of like look at it from an objective perspective,
Right.
in terms of like I can change my behavior.
Right.
That's something that I can do.
Right.
That's actually something that we can do.
Right.
We can change our behaviors.
Right.
Should we need to change them or should we choose to change them?
Right.
So it's not something that is like immobile or
Mm-hmm.
something that we cannot do that's beyond our capacity. It's
Right.
actually within our capacity.
Right.
And so it's looking at like, well, what am I doing this for?
Mm.
Right? We're changing our behaviors, we're changing our thought patterns, we're changing how we receive messages and you know um reflections from others. We're choosing how we receive that so that we can really shape ourselves into the direction that we are going in. We want to be able to suit our behaviors to best head in the directions of living the life that we want to live, because
Mm-hmm.
we have to become somebody new in a way.
Absolutely.
We're not going to bring our old self into our new life and think that's going to work out. That's not. We have to be on that vibrational match. And,
Absolutely.
and so our environment dictates a lot of that.
Absolutely.
So being able to like participate actively and intentionally with those closest around us in our environment so we could get that information to
Right.
make the changes
Right.
is beneficial to us at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. See, we one of the things that I have to say is that I really didn't make this connection on how essential it was to bring it all back to self at the end of the day. Because
Hmm.
when I started moving more into a space of accepting myself and started doing more work towards loving myself more and more I found myself able to accept the rejection of other
Yeah.
people. I started realize I no longer needed to try and make the adjustment so that I
Hmm.
can keep people close by. Because now I'm starting to do the work with all of the abandonment bullshit from the
Hmm.
past. You know what I'm saying? And making trying to hold on to connections and fitting square pegs and round holes and shit like that. We understand that, see, when you loving and accepting yourself, you recognize everybody ain't your cup of tea at the end of the day. And that's okay.
Hmm.
That doesn't make them a bad person. They ain't all fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Just
right.
vibrating some way differently. You know what I'm saying? But that used to be me. You don't like me, you all fucked up.
Right, right. That must be the reason why.
Right. That's why. Because you a hater. That's why. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's the Leo with me. If you don't like me, you a hater. That's all I got.
Right,
You,
right.
you either team me or not. Period.
And that would be to somebody else. Like that would be like, oh my gosh, I wish I had that.
Right.
I wish I could, brush it off like that.
Yeah.
Other people, they take it to heart,
Yeah. Yeah. I do.
depending on their personality type. Like they'll take that to heart, like somebody that don't like them or somebody that voices like, you know, their strong dislike or whatever, or
Absolutely.
showing signs of like, I don't want to fuck with you.
Yeah.
It's like they'll take that to heart,
Yeah. I do. It's a
and
heart shot.
internalize that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
that's what I was doing. And this is
Yeah.
why this is so important. It's so essential. Because it still hurt though. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
Oh
Oh
man.
yeah.
Oh, I
Oh
thought we
yeah.
would be friends.
Right.
We ain't.
Right.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? And I'm feeling, you know what I'm saying? But I used to take it all to heart and everything. Like,
Yep.
what did I do? Hold on. You know what I'm saying? You know
Yeah.
what's my feel. You know what I'm saying? And so I went
Yes.
through all of these stages of changes when I thought that, I had a connection with a person, and finding out that, as the more I start presenting my authentic self,
Hmm.
then the connection wasn't really there. And if I got to
Yeah.
pretend that I'm somebody in order to keep the connection, you probably need to keep it moving, fam. And it's all love too. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? But
Right. That's
that takes a lot of self internal work to do, though. It takes a lot of internal work to do, because if we don't do this, and this is why this is so essential, you'll find yourself in these situations that teach you these lessons over and over and over and over again.
hmm
So when we were in the cipher and I was talking about these karmic life paths and everything, the root of really being able to transcend the karmic life paths is through self-love, through self-acceptance, so that you don't find yourself in these connections where your boundaries are compromised, or you're finding yourself in positions where you're not trying to not take responsibility for shit that you've done and shit like that. You're in a space of acceptance of who you are, and you're not trying to pretend like you're someone that you're not. You understand who you are. Okay, this is what I'm doing. Let me make this adjustment. I need to bring firmer boundaries. Let me make this adjustment, and then we can move forward. And it doesn't mean that it's not easy and it's not going to be uncomfortable, but it gets easier the more you do it. It gets
It
easier.
does. It does. And it brings it back, like for me, like Sankofa, right?
Mm,
Like the African bird with the proverbs of like going back in order to go forward,
mm,
right? And it also brings it to like, so it's, sometimes we see ourselves like we're hard on ourselves, like we want to be where we think we should be already,
mm-hmm. Right.
right? So we already have this relationship with time, with like, I'm not where I want to be. I think I should be further ahead already, and then we beat ourselves up about that.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be such a drag or such a drastic shift in momentum, right? That we have to really simmer down, to really go back to the basics. And we
Mm,
have to bring it back to being the seed. Go back into being in that encased, you know, structure where it's like we're in a cocoon. We're in a cocoon state, and we're getting to like really see and put value into what we contain within ourselves.
mm,
Put the value back into ourselves, into realizing that I'm valuable however way I show up,
right.
which part of me shows up,
Right.
the whole of me that shows up.
Right.
I am valuable just because I am here.
Absolutely.
We have already broken ground. We have grown, we have been nurtured, because that's the way, that's you know no matter what kind of background we come from, and traumas, and what we didn't have, and our family lives and all of these things, the fact that we have made it to this point in our lives mean that something, we got nourishment from somewhere.
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? We
Absolutely.
got nourished from
Somewhere.
somewhere in order to make it here. So
Absolutely.
the things that we didn't get, all the things that the support that we didn't have, we had some sort of support.
You got to have it. And for all of these people who think you can do it all by yourself, well, good luck with that. You know,
That part,
because we need each other to survive, but it's essential that you're more discerning
yes,
in the circle that you have around, so that you can
yes,
properly thrive. It's not
yes,
about looking around, finding everybody that's not a match, eliminating them, and then spending all your time by yourself, sitting around feeling resentful. This is really about, because that's
yeah,
what I thought needed to happen. But this is This is really more about really trying to find that right match, loving
Yes.
yourself enough to recognize that this isn't a good connection. I need to be open
Yeah.
enough to be able to receive that love, be in my authentic self so that I can make those connections. Once you start, you forget, see, you become more magnetic
Yes.
to a
Yes.
true and genuine love. When that
Yeah.
vibration raises, when you loving you, man, I gotta tell you, man,
It is
it's
because this
shit shifts.
it definitely shifts because there's, minimal resistance.
Mm,
Like when you get to that point, like you already know your boundaries, right? You know the scope that you're operating in. You know when you feel something and it doesn't sit right, then it's probably not for you. Or, don't hold off on doing that.
right.
You know, these things and you operate within. It's when we move past our own boundaries that we end up hurting ourselves and causing harm to ourselves, right?
Mm,
Um, having the difference with having like that support structure that speaks to your core, who you are, is like having a struggle garden or having a flourishing garden.
yeah. Yeah.
Right, because a struggle, when I first started off, and I had posted a picture of when I first started farming like 3 years ago. Like, and I mean, I tell you, like, it was a struggle garden. Like, the kales were all like lanky and just looking like, and I sure enough put them in the ground, and I sure did get like other farmers telling me like, yeah, you're gonna get something from that, and they boosted me up and telling me like, yeah, keep going, keep going. And I'm thankful for that. But
I,
now I'm at where I'm at now. I know that was a damn struggle garden. And I know they were looking at my struggle garden like, yeah, that's a struggle garden. But they gave me encouragement still.
right. Right. Can you imagine if you didn't get no encouragement? If they just looked at you, sucked their teeth, and said, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Are you really, is this what you do? You know what I'm saying? Now imagine the damage that could have did. There would be no
Exactly.
thriving garden today, perhaps. You know,
Exactly.
it would have continued.
I would have been done. I would have been like, yeah, this not for me.
Right.
So all of that vision, all of that inspiration, the
Right.
way how spirit was really talking to me and pushed me and nudged me in that direction to go into farming, all of that would have been wiped out. I would have been like, yeah, it's not for me, it's a struggle.
Absolutely.
But having that good support system to help boost you
Mm, mm,
is everything.
everything.
Because you could grow to be a big, fat, chunky, sturdy, like,
Mhm.
strong structure
Right. Right.
and
Right.
the support system for others.
Right.
You give it back. Like when you're in your self-love, when you love yourself, you open yourself up to others. And it's not about um like, oh, I'm a restrict. You open yourself up to others because you're kind of in a way immune to the ways how people, you know, say hurtful stuff.
Right.
You now get that it's not really about you. So it's not personal to you. It really says more about them
Hmm.
than it does to you.
Right.
So you don't have to get in your feelings. You don't have to get in your bag about that. You don't have to fuck with your karma by thinking about doing some shit to them. Like,
I'm gonna go
you
punch that
know,
bitch in the mouth.
right. You know what I mean? You kind of get to like know that it's not.
Right.
And the compassion side of that is that you hold space for them, like whenever and should ever they embark on their path of transformation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because life has a way of dealing with people,
Absolutely.
you know?
Sure as hell do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because people think that karma, it ain't real, but you got to know that
Mm,
that seed and harvest, the law
yeah,
of cause and effect, that shit's for
yeah,
real, babe. That shit's for real.
yeah,
And so that energy that you put out, you better believe it's going to come see you one way or the other. Now, I remember
absolutely.
I was talking to some cats that that deal in the hoodoo circles and shit like that.
Yeah,
They said, "Well, we don't really deal with karma like that." You know what I'm saying? In our I don't know if that's everybody in that in the hoodoo community.
yeah.
This particular cat was saying the deer family, they don't deal with karma. You know what I'm saying? All like
Mm,
that and everything. And I said, okay, that's cool. But my whole thing is that I might not deal with oxygen, yet I still breathe. You know what I'm saying?
right,
I don't, I,
right,
I might not deal with gravity. You know what I'm saying? But
right,
drops and
right.
shit, it's gonna fall to the ground. So you know what I'm saying? So that's
Yeah,
okay. You know what I'm saying? You get to do it however, but just know that, it is what it is,
it is what it is, and everything is
Yeah.
like everything is what it is. Like to me, this is a like this life cycle that we go through on this planet. Like I really feel like this planet is like a big compost pile where if you know a compost, like it's where you throw you know your vegetable scraps, your eggshells. Some compost you can even put like bones and flesh in there, you
Mm,
know, and it decomposes. And then from that decomposition, like it brings new life. You're able to like, because that nourishes the soil,
mm,
it builds new healthy soil
mm.
for and it makes it fertile ground for seeds to like sprout up out of.
Woo.
So we get to do it again. It's a whole cycle.
Yeah,
It's a
definitely
whole cycle. And that's part of the karmic wheel.
Carter, karmic will, the
you
definitely birth process, baby.
know.
No,
So
no.
it's like when you're saying that this person like they don't deal in karma, to me, like what came up for me, I was like, well, what are their family life like?
Mm-hmm.
And what their family personal lives, because everyone is not
Right.
it would be interesting if they are. That
Yeah.
would be for the books, thriving and
Right.
healthy and
Right.
don't have any type of, you know, personal demon or quote unquote personal demon or whatever it is
Mm-hmm.
pattern
Right.
that is not conducive to like a healthy lifestyle,
Right.
right? Like it's like we could turn a blind eye and say we don't believe in this thing, but the thing is thriving.
Right. Right.
It's living its best life. And we're over here like, yeah, I don't believe in that. Like,
Right. But
it
anytime, like a
it
lot of people
speaks to
see shit. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, it speaks to like a level of denial because we don't have the courage or
Yes.
we to do the work that requires.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly what I was about to say. What that is the law of cause and effect unobserved.
Hmm.
When
Right.
people start seeing shit like that, see, people, they don't make the connection, you know?
Mm,
Like I was telling one of my daughter's girlfriends, she would always say, my life sucks. My life sucks. You know
mm,
what I'm saying? And I would tell, you're cursing your condition. And then
mm-hmm.
you wonder why your condition is cursed. You
Right.
sitting around, you telling all you do, your mantra is how your life
Yeah.
sucks. And so now the universe is giving you more suck life. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's the
Yeah.
energy that you're putting out there, you know?
Yeah.
And then with a
That
lot,
has a frequency.
yeah, exactly.
That that
The
that
frequency.
that's one of the things that I know, like for myself. Like I've gotten to the point like, oh, words have frequencies
Mm,
and tones have frequency. So when people say things like that, like I know, like I say that those are offensive words,
mm-hmm,
right? Because it's offensive. is harsh words.
Right.
Like it doesn't foster a sense of like unity and harmony,
Right. Right.
right? It fosters a sense of struggle, despair,
Uh-huh.
you know?
Hmm.
And so to me, it's like those are offensive. It's offensive language.
Hmm.
It's like when we're cultivating and really embarking, we are the masters of our own fate in
Right.
that way. And
Absolutely.
so that we speak into our own personal reality, that which we want to happen, or how we see ourselves, and the things that we want to be surrounded with, and how we want to feel, and how we want to move around, and the ease of that. When
Hmm.
we cast words that are very like doom and gloom, or like very restrictive, it shrinks us, and we have that, and it builds more resistance, because here it is, I want this like full life, I want to feel free, I want to be able to move about freely, I want to have the funds, the money, I want to have everything of luxury. And yet the words that are coming out of my, like there's some resistance there, we're not on the same page, we're not sitting at the same table talking about moving in the same direction. There's some discord there,
Hmm.
right? Within self, there's
Hmm.
some discord there within self, and
Hmm.
having that internal resistance, that
Hmm.
push pull
Hmm.
internal wise,
Hmm.
is, you can't go further than that.
You
There's
can't.
no going further. Like you have to get rid of that internal resistance in
Absolutely.
order to merge the oneness, to
Right.
be on the one path and the one aim.
Right. Absolutely. That's that whole analogy I give about fitting a square peg in a round hole. You know,
Yes.
because it's inauthentic to who you
Yes.
are. So it's not going to fit. You know,
Yeah.
not to be like Johnny Cochran, if the glove don't fit, you better quit.
You must have quit. Yeah. But
You
we give it a good try. Like
hey,
that's such the thing about life, is like we would devote some energy and time into fitting that in there, boy.
yeah,
And it don't matter. Sometimes we're so focused and hard, like, you know, we just got the blinders on. We are just trying to fit that square peg into the round hole. And it
absolutely.
don't matter if somebody come behind us over the shoulder and tell us like, yeah, that don't go there. We can't even hear them. We're so focused on trying to fit it in
Hey,
there.
hey, hey, partner,
We're
hand me
getting
that
it in
hammer.
there.
Let me bash this in here. See, you got me fucked up. It's so fit. You know,
Oh, it definitely goes in there. We just
right,
gotta work it.
right, right. See, you don't know how to maneuver. You know? See, you know what I'm saying? And then right, and then I act surprised when I struggle. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Man.
Yeah. Wow. What
Yeah.
a powerful conversation. We're about to close out into the
Mhm.
next cycle in this and all of that and everything. I
Yeah.
just want to thank you so much for coming on here and just like really just giving us some wisdom keys and present giving us some really good information on how we can get some gardening started and everything and how we can
Mhm.
take that garden principle and apply it into our
Mhm.
everyday life so that we can really see some victory with this golden opportunity that the divine is giving us right now to really make some adjustments. And, me being an astrologer, my kids is always telling me every day, you're telling me that it's powerful. Every day. Every day is powerful. Every moon is powerful.
Yes.
Everything I said,
Yes.
what it is.
Yes.
It is. And we can sit in the house and we can watch Netflix and we can do absolutely nothing. We can sit here, sip lemonade, and do nothing at all with this energy and just let it pass us by. Or we can
Yep.
really take advantage of this opportunity and allow ourselves to make some
Yes.
real changes that's going to be beneficial for us at the end of the day. But that's up to us what we do with it, because you can absolutely ignore it and keep it moving. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? But that's up to us how we navigate that. But it just really seems to me
Mhm.
right now, especially now that I've been, paying so close attention to the cosmos over these past few years, is that We get some golden opportunities to set our lives up, to design our lives, to fashion our lives the way that we really would like to see it go at this point in time. What a fucking powerful time to be alive right about now. What a
Oof.
gangster time. Most
It
gangster,
really is. It
gangster,
really is.
a gangster
Wow.
time. I want to thank you so much. Hey, I want to encourage everybody to be on the lookout, because on Amazon, what I just put out is a shadow workbook. This is called Shadow Navigation. It's for the spiritual gangster. Let me let you
Yeah.
know, it ain't for the faint of heart. You got to be ready for this work right here. But you can grab a hold of it. You can work on it a little bit at a time and everything. But this is going to really work with you in a unique and auspicious way. Spirit has given me some downloads to help us in circumventing that, where we work together with our dreams and we really get to the bottom of some shit. The subconscious mind is such a most gangster and most powerful thing. It kind of is the commander of how we operate and navigate our lives, right? And so doing work on that subconscious level, when we're working through our dreams, this is going to help us in expediting, finding solutions, finding answers. But you have to be willing to put this work in. It will work for you. I assure you of that. But you have to be willing to do that work, and you'll be able to find that on Amazon. And Queen Bridgette, I'm going to send you one of those bad boys right there, because I just really appreciate you coming through, you blessing this platform and everything with your wisdom, with your beautiful light, your beautiful smile, just really coming in here and just brightening up. I appreciate you so much. I'm so glad I figured out how to kind of click that, because now I gotta get Brittany vibes back on here. But it was so damn hot. I had to get the hell up out of this room anyway. Hey, so I gotta get her. I gotta get her back before she start getting too busy, and then ain't got time for a sister. You know,
Right. Before she take off.
definitely. And I want you to know, if there's ever anything that you want to talk about and you need to, get out there, you always got a platform here. I ain't nothing but a call away. Whenever you call me, if I ain't answering the phone, that's because I'm working. Leave me a message. I'm getting back to you. You know that. That's money in the bank.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Love
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank
much,
you.
sis. I appreciate you.
Save. Thank you.
I knew this was going to be
Yes.
good. Oh, the right one right there. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to close it out. You guys have a beautiful weekend. If y'all celebrate the 4th of July, whatever, have a beautiful holiday. I got to spend it with my family. We got to go do the cipher on Thursday, because I'm going to be celebrating the 4th of July with that. So whatever. And y'all have a beautiful rest of the week. I love you so much. Have a wonderful rest of the week. We'll holler next. We'll be together soon. You know how we do it. Soul Family Connections all day. So peace and light, peace and love.